Everyone knows the Luna. Luna was the generic term. It became the generic term for all mopeds in the country. Honda, actually speaking, offered a motorcycle to Kinetic to make. Arun Firodia wanted a scooter only. Kinetic became the only Honda scooter in the world to have an all-metal body.
They say that Honda plans 20 years ago.
Honda doesn't invent everything.
Wow, what a story. Hello everyone and welcome. Something really exciting is on the horizon. Kinetic EV is about to launch a book that captures its entire legacy and the roadmap of its future ahead. Joining me is somebody very special, a man who needs no introduction, especially in the world of automobile in India. Adil Jal Darukhanawala, who is also the author of this amazing book. Welcome, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Adil.
And can you please tell us in brief about what you have written?
This book, 176 pages, packed with what is not just the history of Kinetic, but also a very critical chapter in the history of India's automotive industry since independence. So, and as I've seen, we have written that strapline is pioneer automotive maker who put masses on the wheels in the most affordable manner. And that is where we started out. Everyone knows the Luna. Luna was the generic term. It became the generic term for all mopeds in the country. Right. And so when after Kinetic did the Luna, there were others who followed, TVS, Hero, Majestic, etc. And everyone used to say, ye TVS ki Luna, ye Hero ki Luna. So the Luna became so popular, and it was a simple bike which took people from the black bicycle to a little motorized assisted two-wheeler. And it had no suspension, rigid thing, but it did the job. At that point in time, a cycle would cost about 450 to 600 rupees in that band. The Luna came in around about 2,500 to 3,000 rupees. It put a whole section of Indians on the move. People who could not afford, or even if they had the money, because scooters had 15 and 18-year waiting lists.
Wow.
Motorcycles were costlier, so the best form of transport was the Luna. And from there, it put so many Indians, millions of Indians on the move. Others also copied the Luna, but Luna was the moped which really put or really made its mark in that segment in the country. I think from the basic rigid Luna, it went on to get a little bit more powerful engine, 50cc, two-stroke, centrifugal clutch. Then it went on to having the Luna TFR, telescopic front fork and rear suspension. It really cushioned many bottoms when college students, housewives, traders went about their daily commuting tasks.
I learned about it in the book. I had no idea that the shock absorbers didn't exist. And
yeah, didn't exist. So you'll find a photograph of the very first Luna built. So this is where it came to fruition. And from the Luna, as India also started progressing in the 80s, when the first flush of Indo-Japanese motorcycles began coming in, from there, Kinetic decided that it needed slightly more power, more peppy engines, same basic configuration as the moped was there, but they then started getting into much better, newer frames, a slightly bigger engine, 60cc and 75cc engines, which they designed from other Italian units and whatnot. Some had got variomatic transmissions, some had got 3-speed manual transmissions. The pedals went off, kickstarters came in. So there was a lot of novelty and differentiation which Kinetic themselves put into the moped business. And that helped them tremendously, because people knew that if they wanted affordable mobility, not cheap mobility, affordable mobility, they had to have a Luna. Right. And there were so many people who made the Luna went all over the world. It went to Khardungla when there were no roads there. It went across, did a whole circumnavigation of India by 5 Puneites.
Wow.
They did that. They did almost 20,000 kilometers over a span of something in the region of about less than 3 months. So cricketers used to what you call be awarded Lunas as men of the match and
Yeah, I remember
whatnot.
the
And
trend. The trend
yes,
was started
so
because
they
of
did that. Not just that, how to strike a chord with your core uh, universe. So I remember Kinetic was the first group in the country which would gift students who got in the first 10 ranks of the SSC or something, they would be gifted Lunas. So you really fueled your own audience that way. So in the early 80s, when the government liberalized and all that, so Kinetic was really itching to get back into scooters. And in that sort of sense, they were trying to see from the whole world what they could make. And once, I think in I think 1980 or 81, Arun Firodia and his R&D chief then, Mr. Marathe, they were touring Japan
Right.
just to go and see what was available in the Japanese market. So they're going from showroom to showroom. They
Wow.
never made any contact with any management of any of the
Right.
Japanese companies. So they stepped into a Yamaha showroom in Tokyo and they started talking across over there, what is this scooter, that scooter, etc. uh, and the Japanese very respectful and all that. That sales girl answered most of her things and all that, so they got the leaflets, whatever in translation with the Japanese English and Indian
Right.
English and whatnot they understood. Then Marathe asked that sales girl there, can you direct us to if there is any Honda showroom nearby? She says, yes, the Honda HQ is just 2 blocks away from us.
Wow.
Why don't you go there? And she not only gave him that thing, she also called her counterpart in Honda and said, two gentlemen from India are coming there. So they went there to the Honda showroom at their headquarters at Minatoku, something which I have been there umpteen times.
Wow.
So there they were go. So that receptionist at Honda was waiting for them, and they said they got talking, and she spoke very good English. Then she asked, "Where are you from?" She said, "We are
Right.
from India." He says, "Would you like to speak to someone who knows your country?" She says, "Yeah." So down came one gentleman who was instrumental in Kinetic and Honda joining hands, Wanaka-san, Koji Wanaka. He happened to be the first joint managing director of Kinetic and Honda as it transpired. He came, met Arun Firodia and spoke to him in pure Hindi.
Wow.
Vanaka-san was a scholar in Sanskrit. He had come there to India much before in his college days, and he greeted and he told Arun Firodia, "We know you're from Kinetic." So Arun Firodia got a little taken aback. He says, "How do you know?" He says, "You are the only ones from India who have not contacted us.
Okay.
But everyone else has contacted us for collaboration." So an invitation was given by Arun Firodia to Koji Vanaka. He says, next time when you're in India, please come and meet. He said, we're coming next month to meet. At that time, Honda and Bajaj were in very deep discussions of having collaboration. And so Arun Firodia got it taken aback, saying, "Oh, you coming to Bajaj?" He says, "Yeah, we'll keep half a day for you," and all that. It's a different matter. After a few months, the Bajaj thing didn't work out. It's mentioned in the book why it didn't work out. But then Honda and the Kinetic Group, they said that we saw some good synergy between them. They found Kinetic Group was hungry.
Right.
It wanted to do that thing. It knew how to what you call fuel the masses at the low end of the pyramid. So they got talking. They found a
Right.
lot of similarities there. Honda did not offer the scooter to them. Honda, actually speaking, offered a motorcycle to Kinetic to make.
Okay.
And that motorcycle was the Honda Cup, the step through motorcycle. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know as things have now in hindsight, you can say unfortunately or whatever. But Arun Firodia wanted a scooter only. And so Honda said, okay, let's make the Honda lead.
Right.
And so that is how the NH 125, which was already on sale elsewhere in the world, they said we'll take that scooter and make it in 100cc form in India, because the government had given a special excise duty structure for all two-wheelers up to 100cc.
Okay.
So they Honda devised a new engine for the scooter. It became the NH 100, and that was chosen for it to be made in India.
And even I think the metal body and all also evolved.
Yeah, so once the
Yeah.
scooter was selected, then a lot of tests and developments took place. And one thing was sure, it was the prettiest scooter out there in the market at that point in time.
Still.
Well, yeah, you can say that so. But they did not want to, what you call, effectively say pretty doesn't mean weak. That was
Right.
very, very important. So, in that sort of sense, then Honda was dead against doing a full metallic scooter then, and but the Firodias managed to convince them why it was so important that we in India, what do you call, could find out, signify what was strength by touching the apron of the scooter.
Yeah.
It had to be strong, tough, and whatnot. So, in that sort of sense, the Kinetic became the only Honda scooter in the world to have an all metal body.
Wow.
And I think it came out in 1984,
Right.
and from there on, it was very different. It was truly the most modern scooter, and it was a prototype for all scooters which are there in the country today,
Right.
from every manufacturer. So simple, very well balanced, centrally aligned chassis with the weight distributed very well, very convenient button start. The one of the first of the, not the very first, but one of the first scooters to have an electric starter in the country. It had no gears, variomatic transmission, so that also helped open a very big segment of users for for the scootering world in India. Kinetic was going against the wind there with that sort of thing. Plus, in 1989 90, the Japanese bubble burst and the economy in Japan went for a tailspin. And so, whatever were the critical elements which were coming from Japan for the scooter, like the variomatic thing, the electric start, some electronics, etc., they became very costly. So for a long time, Kinetic absorbed the extra costs and whatnot. And mind you, at that time, India was also, we had mortgaged our gold to the World Bank. So much of the Congress government had, in its all ridiculous socialist ways, had done that thing. India was almost bankrupt. So there was a double whammy for Kinetic to deal with. So in that sort of sense, prices went on increasing. They kept the prices as much as best as possible they could absorb. They kept it, but it was a tough thing in that sort of sense. And further on, because of this sort of thing, and numbers were not coming across compared to what Bajaj and LML were doing.
Right.
So it was very difficult, even though it was mandated or it was agreed between Honda and Kinetic that there would be a four-stroke engine coming for the Kinetic Honda. It never came. It just never came. And in that sort of a sense, there was also a lot of dissonance between the partners, more at Honda than with Kinetic. Kinetic also had some dissonance because it thought that going four-stroke way was the way to go. But Honda saying that we have got no money coming in from this thing. First, Kinetic said, okay, you want to run the company, and you would say, we'll give you the management. So they allowed Honda to increase their stake in the company from that 26.5% to 50 point some percent. Even after that, when they did that, Honda never, they only started increasing the price of the scooter above and up. And that was, sales dropped far more there with Honda in charge. So for 2.5 years, Honda was managing the entire thing at Kinetic Honda. And then one day, and they were not making any sense. Then I think there was a element where happened where Honda knew that it wanted out from the thing, from the joint venture, but they went about it in a very different way. I think they told the Firodias, we would like you to shift the entire thing from Indore and Pune to Gurgaon, because then they had Hero Honda there, they had Honda cars over there, and they would like
Right.
to have that. I think that was something which they knew the Firodias would never accept. So a lot of time went on where they discussed. Then Arun Firodia said, okay, do one thing. We had given you this opportunity to take control of the company.
Right.
You please sell us your shares and you exit the company. And Honda immediately agreed. The thing was that in this sort of a thing, Kinetic did not understand. They thought that Honda would take 7, 8 years to come up with their own plant and do everything and all that. And so in 98, they exited the thing, but Honda already had the Activa ready. So it was only a question of making the plant here in India.
Right.
And in 2 years and some 4 or 5 months, the Activa came in. And Kinetic were just bludgeoned out of the reckoning.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah, it is a story, but it's also something where you can't be complacent. And you must understand one thing: Honda isn't Honda because of just what it has done. It is a very fleet mover when it wants to.
Right.
It knows the motorcycling game better than anyone. And I think Kinetic were caught on the hop there.
Right. They say that Honda plans 20 years ahead.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
And it is in many ways. But let me also tell you one thing. Honda doesn't invent everything. It sees others invent and then it improves upon it. That is also one thing we
Right.
should understand.
Sir, is there any insight that you would like to share between the Kinetic and Honda partnership that you think not many people would know?
Not many know about one very important thing. When the early days of the partnership were being considered,
Right.
uh, Arun Firodia with his uncle Navalmal Firodia, they were in Japan too, and Koji Wanaka was driving this project there and all that.
Right.
And they had to meet Soichiro Honda. Navalmalji had other things, so he left one day early from Japan, but Arun Firodia was there. And before they went and met Soichiro Honda, he was told that Soichiro Honda never wanted to come to India because he did not like the red tape and the bureaucracy there for any new company coming in. He was
Right.
dead against it. But he was convinced to the contrary by Wanaka-san and all that. And in that, so if it was still Soichiro Honda in his prime, I don't think it would have happened.
What was the impact that, that time what, the Kinetic DX had on India as a whole?
Yeah, it was not very difficult to understand that it was stylish, it was contemporary, it looked like $1,000,000, it looked like something from the future which
Yeah.
was there. All those things did matter. Complete what you call one piece
Seat.
saddle across over there. Good fit and finish was exemplary. The instrument console, the controls, etc. Floorboard without a brake pad pedal. A lot of simpler things which really appealed
Right.
to all those guys. And plus, no fuss, no gear shifting, etc. All these convenience features counted quite a lot. The comfort was very good, suspensions were very good. The only two things which went against Kinetic Honda, it was heavy, and
Heavy.
it was heavy.
Okay.
It was heavy, and it consumed. It was not that fuel efficient as the other scooters were
Right.
there. Plus, its ground clearance was a big issue. It would knock on the slightest of speed breakers or anything. Plus, in the early days, what Honda see abroad, even there was no stepney which was factored in by Honda. Wherever else it was selling the lead.
Right.
In India, given the things, they had to have a spare tire, and if there was a puncture, even if there was a spare tire, to get, suppose if it was a puncture in the rear wheel, you had to remove the exhaust system, you had to remove. So it was not user friendly, it was not mechanical friendly, it was not
Right.
service friendly. So all these things went against it. So trying to address this took a few years and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the bugbear of low ground clearance, even after they had done some work, the ground clearance was an issue right
Right.
through its entire life cycle, and plus fuel efficiency was always never its strong point.
Let's talk a little about, some of the forgotten innovations. Like, Kinetic had made a hybrid scooter, which never went into production.
Yeah, so okay, let's talk about Kinetic. As I can tell very, very confidently and absolutely upfront, Kinetic had a very fertile imagination. They did things which not many ever thought about. I remember once when they did reverse engineer a Morini engine for their mopeds.
Right.
So they had got the engine from Italy and they reverse engineered that entire engine here. That became the Spark and then the Swift
Right.
and the Magnum and whatnot. So Morini engines and Minarelli engines, they reverse engineered them completely. And they asked for a technological tie-up with Minarelli. So old man Mr. Minarelli called them across to Italy. So Arun Firodia went with his R&D guys there, and they took the engine they had built here itself. So they spoke over there and all that. So he says this is the thing and all that. He says we have also made the engine. So
Right.
they saw the engine. They had taken the engine with them. They said since you have already made the engine, why are you asking us for? He says no, just so that you can validate what we have done and all that. It has to Kinetic's great luck and also its reputation then that Mr. Minali said, listen, we'll not go through this whole gamut of lawyers and what drawing up long drawn out contracts and
Right.
things. We'll do one sheet of paper. We'll say this is this and we'll agree to it. Both of us will sign. We will give you the drawings for whatever engine you want. Once a year we will meet, evaluate the things,
Right.
etc. Plus, we'll also take you to our suppliers in Italy who make critical components. And that's how Kinetic really, what we call, came up with not just the 60cc but also the 75cc mopeds with 3-speed gearboxes and whatnot. And a lot of these engines were sent to Italy for fitment in Italjet scooters over there at that time and mopeds. So not many people in India
Right.
know this. Another thing which Kinetic did was sell its mopeds, Luna mopeds in the US. How to sell the mopeds in the US? Because the product liability laws in US were the most stringent in the world. So
Right.
many manufacturers have suffered, Audi being one of them, Toyota being one of.
Right.
So whosoever could not deliver the goods for what people had paid for, the manufacturer was liable for that. Now, how to do that? The first batch of Lunas were sent there, and out of that, I think first batch was about 200 Lunas. So I think 20 or 25 bikes. Someone had forgotten to drain the oil from the engine because you have to send it without.
Right.
They had forgotten to drain. It was dripping all over the container and whatnot. And Arun Firodia himself was in US at that time. So when he went there and there was no mechanic, so he himself removed all that stuff from those odd 20, 25 odd scooter mopeds, got them up and going. So then he realized it would be very tough for him to have a distributor who would also be what you call liable to it. So they did something. Americans were crazy after do it yourself, DIY.
Wow.
So he devised moped in a box. And so all the components would be like how you have a mechano set. He would make everything package in one box a piece and send the things across over there. And it would be sold through supermarket, Sears, Roebuck and Company.
IKEA style.
Kinetic sold over 50,000 Lunas.
Wow.
Not many people are aware of this, but it's a fact of life. Kinetic sold that sort of thing. It only got legislated out of business because they were two strokes.
Right.
And the uh, Department of Transport in the US had started banning two strokes from city centers.
Okay.
But 50,000 plus Lunas went there. Then, again, much ahead of its time, Mr. Firodia thought, let us make a scooter with a dual fuel engine. Much ahead of anyone who ever thought like that. So they had, when Kinetic's own Kinetic Pride, that it was Project Kyoto, that concept was known as Project Kyoto in Kinetic's own internal things. They took that scooter and did the petrol engine and an electric motor. They did that. So the petrol engine would charge the battery for the electric motor. So it was there, and it was there 20 years before anyone else started thinking hybrid or something.
The diagram is there in your
Yeah, it's there. There's a chapter on that book here, on that scooter here. And then, not just that, again, Kinetics, Arun Firodia's father, H.K. Firodia, Hastable Firodia, was always looking at improving or pushing the envelope. So he, with Professor Shastri of the Banaras Hindu University, which is the premier organization in the country where hydrogen as a fuel, they've been working on this for the last 40 years.
Wow.
So he was there with them. They had made a bus powered by hydrogen and whatnot. But in a bus, a big commercial vehicle, you can house all those things to generate hydrogen. How do we do that? A fuel cell, etc., could be done there. But in a small two-wheeler, how could we do that? So they were talking. Suddenly they realized hydrogen is a thing which you cannot package properly in a cylinder because it is very imperial. It just will go through any metal across over there. That is why it has not taken shape.
Right.
They say so there is a process where the hydrogen can be made into solid form known as a hydride, and the hydride could be put in a canister under the seat of a scooter, and you could heat that and it would release the hydrogen.
Wow.
So they made a hydrogen powered scooter and a hydrogen powered K400, and both were exhibited at Auto Expo in 1994 or 96.
That's crazy.
And so it was again ahead of the curve.
Right.
Even right now, not many are talking. So these sort of things, and like I said, Arun Firodia, left to himself, could dream up anything across over there, which I have not found that in any other two-wheeler company. Sad to say, all his concepts great. They will never be able to what you call productionize it in good quality terms. That is their mopeds, their scooterets, etc. Great stuff. But the thing about productionizing them in the form which could meet customer quality expectations always left a lot to be desired.
So did two Kinetic Hondas actually ever cross the Sahara Desert, and like how did that whole thing happen?
Maybe you can say I'm the one who is responsible for that. So when after Vanaga-san left and my magazine began, Car and Bike International began from June 87, I think Hirose-san, the next one in line after Vanaga-san, he was the next joint managing director. So Vanaga-san introduced me to him when he was leaving and all that. We got talking and I said, Hirose-san, can we do something? I want to do something with the Kinetic Honda that will conquer one sort of a element which no one has dared dream about also. At that time, Honda was a very strong contender in the Paris-Dakar rally raids. So he said, can we ride two scooters on the Paris-Dakar rally route? And say, so it would be say from Paris to Dakar, it would be great. So scooter conquering that, not in a competitive terms, but as a ride over there. And it was there. So he said, we'll also go via Timbuktu and all that. So we planned and all that from 88 till 89, and suddenly there was civil war in the areas where we were supposed to go, Mauritania, Northwest Africa and all that. So again, and those were not the days of internet and GPS and whatnot, no emails, and it was all airmail, snail mail, and whatnot. So again, it was back to the drawing board. Then we decided that we will go from up north, where in Africa, where Honda has a presence, to go down south towards Nigeria, where Honda had a plant as well.
Right.
So we should go there from North Africa, from Morocco, we go into Algeria, come down from Algeria into Niger, and then from Niger you come to Nigeria. Almost about 6,500 kilometers
Wow.
through the desert. The only roads we could see about 500, 600 odd kilometers tarred roads in the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. And then it was all virtually the desert sand till the time we came into Nigeria. And the last 200 kilometers from the border to Lagos was again tarmac. Otherwise, everything else
Full
was.
sand.
So we started planning for that. We knew that we had to, means we did not know everything. Honda Japan helped us with their motorcycle rally thing. They gave us some what to do, what not to do. Even they laughed at us when we said we want to take these scooters across and all that. So, and we said that we made a thing with one of the service heads of Honda here in India at that time, what we will require for the journey. We said we want to keep the scooters absolute stock. So we don't want to do any modification there.
Right.
The only thing which we wanted was more air filters. We wanted more reed valves in the induction system, because reed valves, we knew with the dust they were going to snap every now and then. And we needed special knobby tires for the desert. No one used to make knobby tires
Right.
in India ever. So almost I think 24 knobby tires were ordered from Japan.
Wow.
And they were sent straight to Morocco. We knew that we had to carry water and fuel for that. So what to do? And plus, so we made a team of 6 people and 4 riders. One person who was virtually a jack of all trades, in the sense that he could speak French, because French was a dominant language
Right.
in that area. Never knew any, so we needed that, and we needed someone to drive the Jeep. So Bajaj Tempo gave us a Mercedes G wagon which they had got.
Right.
We outfitted that. We got the other things we got from Japan or from France, I don't know where. We got the sand ladders which we put on the Jeep. We put out almost about tank to carry at least 200 liters of fresh water, because we never
Right.
knew food ke liye wahan rakha tha. We had 2 collapsible tents in the thing, and we had got another tank for almost about 100 or 150 odd liters of petrol and whatnot. We never knew anything where to get fuel, or said wherever we'd get fuel, we'd tank up across over there and all that. And we did that, and we started, and I was supposed to head that thing, but because this thing got delayed, and my wedding also was planned at the same time, so it was either I get married or I don't get married. So I said no, rather let me get married. So 15th December was my marriage, but the team had already left on the 10th of December from India. They had to go first to Paris, because there was no embassy for Niger to get visas for Niger. So we could only get visas in Paris. So Honda had worked out that for us. We went to Paris. The team went there first. They got that thing. Then they went to Morocco, where everything had already been assembled. The scooters and the Mercedes Jeep was sent from here. They had already been there, kept ready, etc. Our team spent 5-6 days getting everything ready, listening to the locals, etc. And then they started. And
I heard somebody got lost also.
no, the first heart attack was, I think, on the 27th or 26th of December 1991. I get a call in the dead of the night from Neville, my brother, who was.
Right.
Neville says, Adil, we are stuck. Farouk and myself, the team has crossed over from Morocco to Niger, but we both have not been allowed, because when they were writing, these guys, idiots, wrote that we are journalists, and Algeria was going through a civil war, and no journalists. So they said, and Morocco cannot take them because they had got a single entry visa thing. We called Honda in the dead of the night. They said, okay, they got them back into Morocco. The rest of the team went to Algiers, the capital of Algeria. Honda made arrangements for these two guys to fly into Algiers from Morocco. They
Crazy.
flew in over there, didn't write journalists.
This is a movie right here.
This happened. They were reunited. Then they started going through that section of the Sahara Desert, which spans virtually half of Algeria, entire section of Niger, and a little bit of Nigeria, is known as the Hogar. In the Hogar, and we went there, we said desert, so no one thought about
Right.
wearing cold stuff. It was damn cold in the
In the night.
so thankfully the Honda France guys had seen that and they had told them.
Wow.
So some jackets were procured in in Morocco itself before the start, but it was freezing. So and there were only tracks in the desert. Sometimes you'd get a couple of tires and a pole and a thing direction that this is that
Right.
thing to Insala to this thing. So this sort of thing. So in that there was a sandstorm one day, and Neville got the two scooters were riding and the jeep is always behind them. So they got separated. So the one scooter with Chinnappa riding and the jeep, they went in one and Neville got separated. They were separated for almost about 22 hours.
Crazy.
So Neville suddenly found some Germans in a couple of cars going there. So they were shocked to see a scooter rider alone
In the middle of the
in
desert.
the middle of the desert.
On one kind of thing.
Only guy. So Neville, instead of being shocked, he was damn thrilled that
Wow.
someone. So they took him to one border outpost, and there in the outpost where the militia also were fighting one another to just. When they came to know that this thing, so they called the other outpost, said, tell them one scooter has been found, he's separated.
Wow.
So at one place where Chinnappa and the rest of the team they came to know about that. Next day they headed there, got Neville along, and then they continued this
Crazy.
thing.
What a story.
It's really something else.
What a
altogether.
story.
I must tell you one more thing about the Sahara thing. This is really another very funny incident. 6 of them, Neville, Chinnappa, Roland, Dilip Bam, squadron leader Koka Rao, who was a jeep driver and de facto a mechanic for the scooters, and Farooq Sheikh, the translator. Now, Farooq and Neville used to work with me in Car and Bike International.
Right.
Farooq was. So, we had, weighed every one of them before they left India. When they came back, everyone had lost weight excepting Farooq.
Oh.
He was not doing anything except go in the car.
Crazy story. Is it also true that Kinetic won a Guinness record?
There was a record for any vehicle being driven non-stop.
Right.
So there was a thing which someone else had done, a record that it was driven non-stop for some 568 hours or 570 hours non-stop.
Right.
So the idea was not to cover distance but to keep the vehicle running non-stop. And so there was a small track which was developed at Sarasbag in Pune, and there were three-member team who had conceived this thing from Delhi,
Right.
who had come there, and there was this one scooter there. So they would take it in turns. Even a rider change would be done running. So one would
No
hop out from
stopping.
no stopping. Refueling would be done running and whatnot. So they first beat that record of that 570 odd hours,
Right.
but they said we won't stop. So the idea was to do 700 kilometers. 700 miles or 7 kilometers,
Right.
but they went on and did 1001.
Wow.
And that was truly, and it was there in plain sight of the public. There was nothing hidden from anyone.
They were encouraged to throw stones and
No,
stuff.
that was because there are always miscreants in all these sort of things. People threw stones even at the Himalayan rally. Throwing stones is the pastime for anyone who's not part of the action,
I think a conscious effort was there because they wanted to show the serviceability and stuff. So like how they fix a puncture while
Yeah, but there were no punctures. They had a separate rig,
Right.
which on the move it would be happening. The tire could be changed and
Right.
whatnot. I think they changed 2 tires
While
during the
running,
entire thing, but that was it. And the scooter was not being run at a very high pace. I think it was run at about 20 kilometers per hour or whatever that way. And they had to do that many. The lap was known
Laps.
how much meters it was, and it was then. So that 1001 miles or 1001 kilometers was what you call logged in that way.
Right. So we'll do like a quick rapid fire now. Just ask you a few this or that.
Yeah,
First is Luna or DX?
both.
Pick one.
The one word.
Pick one.
If I was staying in the 80s, the Luna. If I was staying in the 2000s, the Kinetic DX.
Manual or automatic?
Automatic.
Two-stroke or electric?
Two-stroke here.
Two-stroke.
I'm old school in that, man.
One forgotten kinetic product that everyone should remember.
Very difficult because I don't think anyone forgot anything which Kinetic made.
Okay. Or less remembered that people should remember.
The K400 step through was something
Okay.
which people have not remembered till today. It was the first Kinetic four-stroke and the first Kinetic motorcycle.
Okay. One product that never got the recognition that it deserved.
I think Kinetic made one very good scooter immediately after the Honda split, and it came up with the same four-stroke engine which was used in K400.
Okay.
That scooter was there. It was very good, but again, Kinetic took the eyes off the ball when they were playing that. That was a great scooter. I don't think that they gave it enough attention and nurtured it in the market.
One advertisement that you still love.
Make your own way. We had done that with the Sahara. So
One thing that today's startups can learn from Kinetic.
be adventurous in dreaming up concepts, making prototypes which validated the thought behind the concept. That is something which Kinetic, like I always said, Kinetic was the fantasy factory in the two-wheeler world which did so many things.
One dream project that you wish you had reached production, that you wish had, it had reached.
There were many of the Italjet scooters.
Right.
So, and there were 2-3 of them which were really wild, contemporary, modern. Those were just not taken up, When Kinetic had already purchased the rights, toolings, etc., everything for them.
And describe Kinetic in one word.
Innovative.
And what is your favorite feature on this new Kinetic DX?
I like that it's a throwback to the past, but with absolute modern take on it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Adil. It's been a pleasure.
Brilliant.
For more, I think we can see the book.
I think the book will be released, early in August. We'll have copies in all Kinetic showrooms and also from my own outlet at adiljal.com.
And I think a few people should get signed copies from you, right? So, I mean,
The book is free, the signs come costly.
we'll make it happen for some.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
Adil.
all the best, Adil.
Thank you.